Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Journalism and New Media Studies, SOJNMS, Diploma Postgraduate Diploma Programs. MJM-002 Production and Presentation. Block-1 Program Concepts. Unit 1 Radio Formats. 1.0 Introduction. This is the first unit of Block 1, course MJM-002. In this block, we have included 4 units. Radio formats, presentation techniques, spoken word programs, news and news reels. The first unit aims at providing basic information about various radio formats. It discusses how radio broadcasts comprise a variety of programs in different formats. Although these formats come for a detailed discussion separately, this unit serves as a curtain raiser of the formats discussed in the course. In this unit, you will be familiarized with the characteristics of different formats and how they are used in the production of a variety of programs. 1.1 Objectives. After going through this unit, you will be able to times identify the categories of radio formats. Times enumerate the characteristics of various radio formats. Times differentiate between the formats, which are similar to each other, and times appreciate the various programs produced in different formats. 1.2 Program Formats. A format is a framework for organizing and articulation of ideas and talents. Different formats are used in radio as it has a wide range of audience with different tastes and preferences. It has to provide a variety to relieve the monotony in broadcast as well as convey messages effectively. Understanding the formats of the program will help you to choose the appropriate format as per the requirements of the theme, target audience, nature and objectives of the program. The selection of a format is related to a number of factors such as times the nature of the subject and its ramifications, times the nature of the recordings involved, studio-based or outside broadcast, based or both, times the nature, content and extent of documentation required, and times the resources available. The broadcast of a radio station includes a variety of items. Some of them cater to the needs of general audience and as such may include items which could interest most of the listeners. Programs are also broadcast for specific audiences such as women, youth, children, students, farmers, industrial workers and senior citizens to meet their specific communication needs. The special audience programs bring specific items of relevance and interest to a particular audience. Specific interest programs also include Western music, sports, commentaries and programs in dialects, etc. The techniques of production and presentation of these programs vary widely, which will come for detailed discussion in separate units. 1.3 Spoken word programs. Basic formats. We are sure you must be an avid listener of radio programs. Think of some of the programs on radio that you like and try to identify their formats. At this point, do not worry about the accuracy of what you have written. You will be able to review it after reading this section. The basic elements of a radio program are word, music, effect and silence which convey messages, ideas or thoughts. The listener creates his or her own pictures with the help of these elements. Keeping in view the nature and emphasis, radio programs are broadly grouped under the following areas: spoken word, news and music programs. News also comes under spoken word. However, due to its distinct identity, it constitutes a separate category. The basic formats of spoken word program are talks, discussions, interviews, and plays. Features, documentaries and magazines, talk shows, commentaries, quiz, poetry. Recitation, radio reports, and advertisements are some of the other formats of spoken word. 1.3.1 Talks and discussions. Most of the spoken word formats are talk-based. Talk is a straight delivery of words by a particular speaker. Radio talks are generally of short duration, i.e., 5 to 10 minutes. Talk can be an effective format to present an opinion on an issue or a problem. These are generally planned in advance. However, talks on important items or current affairs are also arranged at a short notice. In large radio stations, the producer prepares schedules of talks on a quarterly basis wherein subjects relating to economics, politics, science, sports, social, art, culture, festivals, anniversaries, etc. are included. In special audience programs, emphasis is placed on talks of specific relevance and importance to the target audience. In sharp contrast to the talk, which is presented by one person, a discussion generally includes 2 to 3 participants and a moderator. A discussion presents analysis of an issue from different angles and brings forth more than one opinion on a given subject. The subject may be political, social, cultural, or issue-based, but it must evoke the interest of a listener and sustain it. The duration of the discussion varies from 15 to 30 minutes depending upon the topic, utility, and the number of participants. The role of the moderator is crucial for the success of discussion. As he conducts the discussion, introduces the subject as well as the participants. As he facilitates the presentation of diverse viewpoints and provides equal opportunity to each participant to express views. The discussion is concluded by summing up the main issues raised in the program. 1.3.2 Interviews. An interview requires the participation of two people, the interviewee and the interviewer. Interviewee is the subject expert who may be a political leader, scholar, adventurer, dancer, actor, comedian, etc. An interviewer raises questions and queries about the subject, personality, or issues to elicit more details for the audience. The interviewer always keeps the objective of the interview in mind. He brings the expert to focus on those points which are related to the objective. The interviewer asks appropriate supplementary questions, hence, the ability to listen attentively and to think quickly are essential attributes of an interviewer. The interviewer needs to do his/her homework thoroughly and study the background of the interviewee to bring forth new, interesting, and vital information. It is important to note that the interviewee is the main focus of the interview and the questions are framed in such a manner that the listener's doubts or queries are addressed. The technical aspects, microphone placement, background noise, etc., should also be kept in mind while producing an interview. 1.3.3 Drama. Radio play. According to Robert McLeish, a well-known authority on radio broadcasting, is turning off words and action into satisfying pictures within the listener's mind by using the techniques of drama. The medium in its relationship to drama is unique. According to W.H. Auden, a renowned author, the disembodied voices of radio can create characters and setting conveniently. The listener constructs a profile of each character in mind according to his/her interpretation. The principles of radio drama also apply in commercials, dramatized readings, short serials, and educational programs meant for children. Music and effects play an important role to create and understand the characters and the time frame. Effects such as a car drawing up, car stopping urgently with the screech of tires, passage of time through ticking of clock, night time through owl hooting, early morning, through cock crowing, outdoor rural setting through birds singing, etc. Help to spin the imagination of the listener. With the help of these special effects, radio drama conveys not what is real but what is understandable. However, using too many effects restricts to convey the message. Music and effects are primarily used to underline a specific dramatic point. You will learn more about it in the unit on radio drama. 1.4 Other formats of spoken word. Besides what you have learnt in section 1.3, there are several other spoken word formats in which we find the fusion of one or more basic format. Spoken word on radio can be presented in many and varied forms as they are suited to the tastes of wider sections of the audience, particularly for those who have cultivated good listening habits. Programs such as short stories, serialization of novels, travelogues, etc., have been tried successfully by many radio stations. While the cardinal principles of spoken word simplicity, lucidity, and euphony, pleasantness of sound, especially in words, apply to all these formats, the producer of the program has to show good sense of judgment in selecting the short stories, attempting episodic division of a novel. For a mass medium like radio, literary pieces of a high intellectual caliber, philosophical or sheer experimental in style, would not suit. The selection of the speaker is also crucial to the success of the program. He has to have a flow, modulation in voice and adequate measure of histrionics in order to portray emotions through voice. 1.4.1 Features and documentaries. A radio feature is a sound picture of a person, event, place, or development imaginatively presented by a creative person. Radio documentary belongs to the genre of features. It is referred to as radio dramatic presentation of actuality according to Robert McLeish. A documentary program is fully fact-based on documentary evidence, written record, attributable sources, contemporary interviews, and the like. Its purpose is essentially to inform, to present a story or situation with a total regard for honest and balanced reporting. If the producer sets out to provide a balanced, rounded, and truthful account of something or someone, that is a documentary. Writing and presenting a feature requires creativity. Gathering facts, presenting them creatively, the art of using music and effects, selecting proper voices are some of the challenges which the producer of features has to face. Both features and documentaries include more than one basic format of spoken word. The dividing line between a documentary and a feature is very thin. One of the largely accepted views is that if the producer provides a balanced and truthful account of a place or a person, it is considered a documentary. However, if he gives greater rein to imagination and does not stick to the facts, even though the source material is real, that is a feature. New formats such as docudrama, combining the elements of documentary and drama, have also emerged. We should be careful to ensure that fact and fiction are not combined and their boundaries are clearly demarcated, maintaining the essential difference between what is real and what is not. Scripting and voicing are important requirements for both feature and documentary. While scripting, only the simplest possible terms are used. Language is kept in tune with the overall tone and tenor of the program. Minimum words are used, allowing the actuality of recordings to explain the subject. The narration should sound natural and clear to sustain, as well as enhance the listener's interest. Shouting, preaching, or talking down needs to be avoided at all cost. 1.4.2 Magazines. Where have you come across the term magazine? It must be in the print media. As in any magazine, the content has a variety of formats including features, interviews, cartoons, etc. Magazines have distinct character, style, and contain articles, features, poems, etc., usually on the set columns or pages. Similarly, in radio, the magazine format has a distinctive character of its own. A radio magazine includes a variety of items such as an informative talk, an interview with the expert in the field, poetry, a quiz, etc. All these items are presented with suitable linkages. In spite of the variety in content, the items of the program follow a set pattern and are usually presented in the next edition in a similar order. Radio magazine could be thematic like a science magazine, sports magazine, literary magazine, or cultural magazine. Program. The title of the magazine program itself helps to identify the area and focus of the program. For example, Khel Patrika, Vigyan Patrika, or Sports magazine. The production of magazine programs comes for detailed discussion under Unit 8, Block 2 of this course. 1.4.3 Commentaries. Running commentary is one of the popular formats of radio, in sharp contrast with television, in which visuals unfold an event. A radio listener sees the event through the word picture given by the commentator. Radio commentary is faster than television, as the radio commentator has to give the details which the TV camera provides. A radio commentator has to mention whether the sky is clear or overcast, what is the color of the dresses of the teams playing the match, or if a batsman in a cricket match is wearing a helmet or not, and so on. You may wonder how a commentator is able to recognize the players in a hockey match, where the game is so fast. First of all, the commentator gets the list of players in advance, which would mention the names of the players and their positions of play. Secondly, they have jersey numbers on their back. The information helps him/her to recognize the players. The commentator also takes pains to meet the players before the match to familiarize him/herself with the players. Usually, those who have played the particular game for a number of years are assigned the task of sports commentary. 1.4.4. Talk shows. Talk shows have become very popular on television. Talk shows are also organized on radio. In this format, 2 or 3 speakers are invited to speak on a given topic, and the audience present in the studio question them. This may be termed as an extension of interview format, in which one person talks with one expert. In talk shows, the experts may be more than one, and the persons to ask the questions are also more than one. Experts are called to speak on social issues, cartoonists may speak on creativity, literary writers may speak on their style of writing, doctors speak on health-related issues such as AIDS or problems of drug abuse, etc. People from different walks of life or from the related field, as per the objectives of the program, are invited to participate and ask questions. Experienced and articulate anchor persons conduct the talk shows and navigate the program with style, wit, and a sense of humor to make it interesting and lively. 1.4.5 Quiz. Quiz programs are generally studio-based. The participants are invited according to the topic selected for the quiz. The quiz master, who conducts the programs, puts questions to the participants, gives them reasonable time to answer the questions, and announces the correct answers. The level of the questions is kept appropriate to the level of the target group. The duration of the quiz program is generally kept 20 to 30 minutes. The time, duration, and nature of questions varies according to the target group. 1.4.6 Reports. A radio report is based on outside recording, including excerpts from speeches, eyewitness accounts with actuality, interviews, and statements by the local authorities, etc. Radio report uses a narrator in order to link up pieces of actuality sound pertaining to an event. The presenter's job is to put this material into a coherent perspective, filling the gaps. The chronology of the event should not get distorted despite various parts being presented in the report in a different order. The producer here resorts to the technique of back and forth in order to give prominence to important segments of the event, keeping in view the primary purpose of communication to keep the listener informed. Radio report brings to the listeners an account of functions, happenings, accidents, visits of important personalities, or any cultural show or exhibition. This format can be effectively used to cover various functions in an institution. The duration of a radio report is usually of 10 to 30 minutes depending upon the importance of the event. 1.4.7 Advertisements. Advertising is a paid form of communication, and its prime objective is to sell a product or an idea. This is generally done by imparting information, developing attitudes, and inducing actions beneficial to the advertiser. Social advertising is also undertaken on various themes, such as consumer protection, environmental protection, healthcare, polio vaccination, communal harmony, exercising one's franchise, etc. Among the various mass media available, advertising on the radio is extremely inexpensive. Commercial advertising on the radio is accepted as spots or jingles from 10 to 60 seconds. Duration. The sponsorship of certain programs is accepted and the sponsor gets free commercial time, FCT, to advertise his/her product or service. The advertisement tariff is related to the reach of the radio station, listener potential, the duration and time of broadcast. Time check advertisements, which are in the form of a slogan or jingle normally of 7 seconds duration, are accepted on commercial channels. The client usually approaches an advertising agency with his/her advertising requirements. Agencies have their own creative departments and production departments. The agency converts the client's objective into a message and ensure the following factors: times whether it grabs attention, times whether it is relevant, times whether it is centered around a promise, and times whether it is branded clearly. The agency uses different formats including music in preparing the advertisement. Before the advertisement is finalized, pre-testing is also done. The advertisement for broadcast has to be in conformity with various regulations. You will read about them in detail in Unit 9 on Advertising on Radio. 1.4.8 Poetry Recitation Symposia. In addition to the above, some other programs, with poetry recitation, also make use of the spoken word. Renowned poets and upcoming poets are invited for such broadcasts. Musharas and Kavi Sammelans of 30 or 60 minutes duration are planned, recorded and broadcast. Poetry recitation has its special attributes and form, which is quite different from the prosaic form of our speech and conversation. Lyricism is also an ingredient of poetry, and effect is created by its inherent rhythm and meter. It easily lends itself to musical presentation. Poetic expressions are capable of condensing an entire philosophy or concept in a few words or couplets. The effect of the poetry is achieved through emotive impulses delving deep into the meaning of the words. The style of recitation adds to the impact of the poetry. Poetry recitation is a part of oral and social traditions of our society. Mushaira, Kavi Sammelan get tremendous response among Indian audiences. Poetry is not the staple diet of broadcasting, however. To reflect all contemporary art forms, poetry recitation cannot be overlooked. Poetry recitation is a part of literary magazines on radio. Poetic symposia are presented like concerts. 1.5 news programs. For quite some time, the quickest and the most important way of getting new information used to be radio. Even today, there are many loyal listeners of radio news who start the day with listening to morning news bulletin. Radio news is basically a spoken word item. But as its production is distinctly different from that of other programs, it is taken as an independent segment of broadcasting. Radio news is different from a newspaper or television news. Radio news can only provide hard facts and not the finer details of an event as given in newspapers. The reader of a newspaper can select news items of his or her choice, which is not possible with radio news. Moreover, one can leave a story and go back to the previous one, which again is not possible with radio news. Although the radio news is written in advance, it is presented and not read. The medium is voice to ear, not news to eye as in newspapers. Radio news is presented in different formats: viz., news bulletin, news magazine, newsreel, etc. 1.5.1 News bulletins. The news bulletin has been the traditional format of presenting radio news. The news bulletins cover both national and L1 national news, human interest stories, and sports news, which generally round off the major bulletins. There are some special sports bulletins of 5 minutes duration separately. Newscasting comprises collection, selection, scripting, editing, production, and presentation of news bulletins. News agencies constitute the main source of news, however, there are several other sources of news collection. These include staff correspondence, part-time correspondence, and monitoring service. The latter provide material based on monitoring of external broadcasts. Only newsworthy items are selected for broadcast. The factors that govern newsworthiness are timeliness, proximity, conflict, prominence, government's action, human interest, weather, sports, and developmental activity. The news bulletin is written in crisp, precise, to the point manner and in simple words. Care is taken that the news report is accurate, balanced, objective, and clear. In preparing the news, command over the language is a must in order to explain the complex issues in simple terms to a common listener. There are some recent innovations in presenting news bulletins. Correspondence voice dispatches and excerpts from the statements of leaders or eminent personalities having news value are included in the news bulletin. These dispatches are live as well as recorded. With the availability of satellite news gathering facility, the news bulletins are able to incorporate more live dispatches from the field. 1.5.2 News magazines. News magazine format is in vogue these days. A news magazine, as the title suggests, includes a variety of news-based items in different formats. These could be a news bulletin, a topical commentary, talk, interview, discussion, and a press review. The correspondence dispatches are also often included. While a news bulletin is generally of 5 to 10 minutes duration, a magazine is of longer duration. The 6 a.m. news in Hindi of All India Radio is cast in the format of a bulletin, while the 2.30 p.m. news in Hindi is a comprehensive news magazine. 1.5.3 Newsreels. Newsreel is in the nature of a news report. It is generally of 10 minutes duration. In sharp Contrast to the news bulletin, which is broadcast live, newsreels are always recorded. In a news bulletin, news items are dealt in crisp and concise manner. Newsreel deals a story in greater detail by including voice dispatches, interviews, and actual background sound. It may also include spot reports, eyewitness accounts, comments, reactions, and extracts from speeches. Thus, newsreel supplements news bulletin and provides background of the news. Voice plays a dominant role in newsreels through the comments of the main players of news as well as the analysis of a given issue. 1.6 Interactive programs. The process of communication combines message, transmission, channel, decoding, receiver, action, and feedback. It is a continuous cycle of sending a message and receiving the feedback. Radio has for a long time been a one-way communication medium. This one-way nature was one of the limitations of radio medium. But thanks to strides in technology, radio has overcome it to a considerable extent. Radio has found new ways of broadcast using and connecting phones to its studios in addition to replies to listeners' letters. Open house programs, People's Forum and similar orb-based programs, Listeners' Club programs, etc., which provide the two-way communication system to the radio. Phone-in, radio bridges, voicemail are the other programs of interactive nature introduced in the recent times. 1.6.1 Phone-in program. Phone-in program gives a chance to the listeners to participate in the program directly by raising questions, queries live on air. Such programs are very popular in metro cities and places where large numbers of people have access to phone facilities. In phone-in programs, experts from different fields are invited to speak, and later the person anchoring the programs allows the listeners to raise questions to get clarification on the points where they have some doubts. The listener can participate through the phone line S. There may be more than one and the numbers are announced well in advance, which are connected to the studios. Thus, the listener can get replies to his/her queries in real time. Phone-ins on health related subjects are a regular feature of programming in several stations. These interactive programs are proving useful in the field of education. Indira Gandhi National Open University is using interactive radio as part of its learning package from 186 AIR radio stations. Students can pose questions to the experts from their homes and interact freely to seek further information, clarification, and guidance on academic matters. In addition, various issues related to admissions, submission of assignments, examination, declaration of results, etc., are also taken up during phone-in sessions. Students enrolled with the university, parents and prospective students get their doubts clarified by posing questions during such sessions. Toll-free phone facility available in 80 cities helps to reach out to the listeners and involve them in the broadcasts. The phone facilities at present are limited and available to a certain sections of people. However, as the facilities increase, the techniques and formats of interactive communication will become more useful and popular among the people. 1.6. Radio Bridge. Radio Bridge signifies the extension of phone-in programs. In a phone-in program, listeners usually interact with the experts located in the studio of a particular radio station. However, in a radio bridge program, 4 or more studios of different cities are connected, and experts called to discuss a given topic or issue. Thus, the listeners are able to listen to the opinions or views of different experts at one time from different places and can also elicit clarification from the experts live. 1.6.3 Voicemail. To obtain feedback of the listeners, letters are invited from them. However, this form of feedback has its limitations. It is through writing only, which takes time. People generally avoid writing letters and expressing their appreciation or criticism of a program. To overcome this, radio stations have now dedicated telephone for receiving voicemail. The listener can now record his/her views, opinion or suggestions over phone at any time, which will be automatically recorded on the tape. The replies to listeners' letters stored ARNMES include the kernel 11111 ends of the listeners in their own voice recorded in the voicemail boxes, along with replies. Thus, radio is able to get a quicker feedback, and that to it. Listeners ~n. Voice. Listening to one's own voice over radio not only involves the listener in a program~mme, but also forges a sense of belonging and affinity with the radio station. 1. 7 music programs. Music constitutes a predominant component in radio broadcasts. Background music helps the listeners to understand and appreciate the mood, setting, place or time, particularly in radio play. Vocal music, which is word-based, serves a similar purpose. A synergy of music and speech in radio heightens the dramatic effect. Music is also used as a bridge to link different sequences. Radio provides different forms of music. Those include classical music, Mustani and Karnataka light music, light classical music, folk and tribal music, choral music, and instrumental orchestral music besides film music. The formats of musical broadcasts include music concerts, classical and light, independent songs, and light and light classical, musical, operas, music magazines, and music features. Film songs in different languages, Western music, vocal, instrumental, and orchestral of classical and pop variety form part of music broadcasts. These include programs of the listener's choice. Presentation of music programs is done in different ways. Some are presented as independent items while others are compared and presented. 1.8 Summary. To learn the production techniques of radio programs, it is necessary to get an idea of broadcasting in general and the various program formats and the production approach in particular. This unit serves as a curtain raiser for the units which will follow in the course, delineating the characteristics, nature, and types of various radio formats. We discussed 3 major groups of radio broadcasts: spoken word programs, news, and music programs. Talks, discussions, interviews, and plays constitute spoken word programming. News also belong to the spoken word format, but news has its own subformats, like news bulletin, news magazine, and newsreel. It is therefore given the status of a separate format. Interactive programs also come under the format of spoken word, the technical production being different from the talk and other basic formats of spoken word. Music programs constitute a sizable part of a station's programming in different subformats like concerts, magazine, and features. Music programs cover a wide range including classical, light classical, folk, orchestral, and choral types. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates.